Hey everybody, welcome. It's our last week of the Empowered Success Business Training. This round has been a little bit different. We've had my husband jump on board and give us some business coaching this time. I think it's been really fun to have a male perspective and some other male voices in the group here as well. So thank you so much for your participation. We don't believe that this line of communication should end after the Empowered Success Business Training. It's just the beginning. So feel free to go back to this Facebook page all you want. You can watch the videos we've left here, as well as any of the other references to Empowered Success guides or comments that people left, books you should read, that sort of thing. But I really want you to also participate in the Holistic Wife Happy Life Builder Sharer Facebook page, because on that one is where we're going to keep all the up-to-date team calls and product information and sales and all the things that you'll need to know moving forward. What I would suggest, though, is to really link up with the person that enrolled you. Make sure that you have a mentor call every week until you feel very comfortable in your business, and even have that mentor teach the first few classes for you so that you can get an experience of what it would look like to have a class. Okay, so tonight, for our last call, we're going to talk about how to link arms, how to find people to do the business with you. I think that's one of the biggest, I don't want to say like, it's hard to say the word like hurdle, but like it is. It's really one of the biggest hurdles for new builders to get over. And it feels like it's never going to happen. And it's often the thing that makes people quit, right? I would say the number one reason why people walk away from doing doTERRA as a business is because they feel like they don't have people to help them. They've gotten through their warm market. They've hosted classes with all of their friends and family. They have felt like they have exhausted their resources. And so there will come a certain part or point in your business, which we're going to talk about at the end of my presentation here before Paul speaks to you guys, about this idea that like you have to decide to keep going, right? And the decision to keep going depends so much on who your mentor is, like what your belief in all of this is, and then also your ability to find people to link arms with you and to do this with you. Because I don't look at my business ever as this is mine and Diamond is mine. It's something I've created. I would never say that, and I would never think that. I feel with just clarity of mind that everything that we have in our organization is based off of a collective effort. And I love that. I love that I can look out the window and know that any success that has come our way has been because of all the people that have chosen to link arms with us, right? And the same thing goes for when things don't go right, when there isn't success, or when numbers are low or people aren't satisfied. It's me looking in the mirror, right? I'm not going to look out the window and start pointing fingers or start, giving the blame to anyone else. Truly, the sign of a good leader is someone who can really look in the mirror and decide like, okay, what is it that is not going right that I could do better on, or what am I not doing right that could really help my team? And so what I want you to be able to learn tonight is just that it doesn't have to be wishful thinking, right? You will find someone to do this business with you, and they may not do it exactly the same way that you do, but you will be able to coach them and mentor them to be able to do it the best way that they should or that they could. And that's really the important thing here, is that there's a place for every single person in doTERRA, no matter how much time or how little time they can give, no matter how big of a personality or how little of a personality they have. And what I mean by that is like charismatic people are great leaders, but so are introverts. And so are people who never like to even teach a group class. I know many presidential diamonds that have made it to the top just by having one-on-one conversations, right? You can be ambitious, but you can also be humble. You can have this ambitious humility and still be super awesome and not feel like you have to have this giant personality that like wins over the entire room. Okay. All right. Now, let's talk specifically about how we get to the point of finding someone to do the business with us. And it really starts with you first. Okay. So if you find your purpose, if you find what it is that you would do with your time if everything in your life was taken care of and you were financially free, right? If you think about that question and you answer it in your head or on a piece of paper, right? What would you do if you and your family were taken care of and you were financially free? That would become your purpose, right? So what are the bigger things in life that you want to accomplish? What are the things maybe in your community or in your family or traveling or building schools in Africa? I don't know. Whatever it is that you feel like motivates you if you were financially free, that's what's going to become your purpose. And that becomes the foundation for how you find future builders, okay? And the reason that is so is because we need to embody that. You've probably heard me say this before, but you need to live in your diamond energy, right? Living in your diamond energy means that you are present, you are living in this moment. Oh, is there a chat? I missed it. Here, I'll open it just in case. Sorry about that. So, living in your diamond energy is making sure that you embody the message that you're sharing, right? That you have an appearance of someone who either, is successful or shares love. I'm not saying you have to have like a Rolex and drive a Lexus. That's not what I'm saying, but that you have this body language of positivity, that your voice is strong and that you know what you stand for and that you have value to share wherever you go. The other thing that's really important before finding someone to partner with you is deepening your certainty in the product. Okay, it starts at the very bottom here. You have to deepen your certainty in the product. If you don't have a deep-rooted belief in the product, there is no way you're going to make it in this business because this is a product-driven company. And everything that doTERRA makes and produces and sells in mass quantity is because people love it. It's consumable. They come back for more because it works. Okay, so you need to figure that out for yourself first. The second thing is deepening your certainty in the business. If you haven't gotten a check yet from doTERRA, if you haven't had the opportunity to teach a class and get that fast start check, you don't have a belief in the business yet, right? If you haven't had the chance to teach throughout the month and get your entire loyalty order paid for, then you don't have a real deep-rooted belief in the business, unless you're looking at the example of others and knowing close hand, like because you know that person, that they've been able to work hard enough to be financially free or be successful in doTERRA. So that's my second piece of advice here is deepen your certainty in the business. Once you have a belief in the business opportunity and the financial healing that it can provide, then that's when you're going to start to really show that through the way that you present yourself, and more importantly, when you have these business conversations with people and as they come up. The third thing, which is actually the very hardest of all the three, is deepening your certainty and belief in yourself. Okay? If you don't have this of the three, you're going to quit after you've finished what you would consider your warm market. Okay? You will not last in this business if you don't have a belief in yourself. Up until you really gain that belief, you can lean on me though, because that's the one strength that I do have, is that I see people's potential and I see people's ability to like make it big. And I have this strong strength in, have you ever heard of the, what's it called, honey? The strength finders? Gallups? Is that what it is? The Gallup strength finders. My number one strength is futuristic. Out of all 30 of them, futuristic, meaning I hold a lot of weight in the future and I know with like certainty that these things are going to happen. And I can see it when I interact with you, and I can see your greatness and your power and your strength and all the things that you can bring to the table in this business. And so if you're feeling weak in that area, just lean on me, because give me a call, give me a text, tell me you feel like you're falling on your face, and I will say, I've been there, but you can do this, because you can. You totally can. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Let me just make sure that's clear. Okay. On the same note, it's really important to also know and clarify, what is your kryptonite? What is it that you're not so great at? So if you have a strong belief in all of these things, the product, the business, and yourself, you also need to know what things are going to bring you down. Okay? Because there will come times in your business when it gets hard, when your character is in question, when your decisions are being maybe second guessed, or there's somebody who comes back at you and says, these are crap, they didn't work, and they didn't take any of your advice, and they didn't use it how you recommended, but they're just mad that they spent all this money on this thing that they feel isn't working for them. Okay? All of these experiences are going to happen. And even more than that is the disappointment and betrayal of someone that does link arms with you and does say that they're going to do this with you. And so you invest lots of time, lots of love, and lots of energy into that relationship. It could be like hundreds, even thousands of hours. And that person just decides to up and walk away. But that is okay, because we all have a different purpose and we all have a different reason why we're doing this, and the different purpose to serve, right? And we want people to live in their true authentic space and in their true authentic self. So if they're not happy doing this and they don't decide, or they don't see what can be, then you have to be okay with it. So what is your kryptonite? How will you respond in all these scenarios? How will you respond when you get that first phone call that someone says, I don't believe anything you're saying. This is all a load of crap. Okay, if you can identify that now, then when those scenarios pop up, you're going to know exactly how to take care of it. You will see and recognize that this is a trigger for you, and that either, you think like, this is going to send me spiraling emotionally, or this is going to be really hard for me to get back on the horse. But guess what? I've been through a lot in this business in the last 2.5 years. And I can say that the hurt doesn't minimize. It's not like it's less painful when someone says or does something. It's just my reaction to it now is a lot different, because I have had to experience that and I've had to go through it. But I now see that regardless of whatever we face as a leader, as a mentor, as a coach, and just somebody who's, running this business, that there will be so many different kinds of personalities and so many different types of people that you're going to work with, that we're going to learn and grow so much. And through all of this, I have learned and grown so much as a leader, more so now than I did in the 10 years I was a coach and a high school teacher and all of that, right? It's just like this, you're under the refiner's fire. You are being taught and humbled every single day, and it's awesome, and I love it. If I can smile like this even now, then it's possible. Okay, so you've heard me talk about the ideal client avatar in the past, which is when we outlined and designed what exactly it is that we're looking for in an ideal customer, right? We talked about that before. What does our customer look like? What does she or he do for a living? What you can even be more specific, like, is this person a mother? Is this person a father? What types of careers do they have, or clothes do they wear? I mean, it could be super specific, right? And you can manifest these kinds of scenarios and map that all out. But what we're talking about now is, what is your ideal business avatar? Who are the types of people that you want to go into business with? This is when you can be even more picky and even more selective, because you don't want to just choose any person off the street to come and partner with you because they have a heartbeat, okay? If someone says, I want to do this business, and they jump in and you give them all this time and you mentor them, but really they're not these 5 things, or they don't even have one of these things, it's not going to last very long, okay? You want an ideal business avatar, to be someone that's influential, that's positive in their life, that brings value, that's hardworking and committed and capable. All of these things are really, really important. They have to be flexible. They have to be available. They have to communicate, right? I have had to work in a close relationship with people who I've seen transform, right? I've seen people that have said, I'm not someone that likes to communicate, or I don't like, and there's a lot of like restrictions and boundaries and walls. But someone who's committed, if they have that one thing, then they will overcome these obstacles and they will grow, and you will see them grow. And it's so beautiful to watch someone really own their business and own their mentorship, and be a leader themselves. And I feel the exact same way about myself. I have transformed so much in the last few years that I am not the same person even at all. I think in the beginning, I had these 5 things because I, was this person, but I wasn't doing it in the way that like I could be super flexible. I think I was all these things with a lot of conditions. And that's okay. If you have a lot of conditions now, that's totally fine. You're still welcome here. We're not going to make you break down all your barriers and boundaries right now. But through your experience in doTERRA and growing a network marketing business, those boundaries and barriers will transform and get broken down in one way or another. Just so you know. Okay. Just real quick, I want to touch on the business conversation. So how do you talk to people about the business opportunity? Paul talked last week about questioning. It's important that we ask questions, okay? Find out questions are things like what I asked you at the beginning, finding your purpose, right? You can ask someone if they've already kind of said a little bit that they're interested. You would say, what would you do? What would you and your family do if you were taken care of and you were financially free? Those types of questions are find out questions related to health, related to relationships, money. Okay, these are the types of topics that you want to consider when you're trying to find out more about them, because you're looking for a way that you can fill in the gap by adding doTERRA. And so you would share your message. Your message would be in almost like a mathematical format, right? What your life was like before doTERRA, what problems you were facing, how doTERRA resolved the problem, and what your future looks like now. Okay, those are the steps you need to take. And it's real basic. The conversation doesn't need to go on and on. But if it's someone that's a true friend of yours or someone that you've really, really set out to find and they fit all the criteria, then spend a lot of time there. Spend more time really finding out what their specific needs are. And once you've shared your message, you then turn that back on them and say how this could resolve their concerns, right? What their future could look like if they were ready. And the question that is one that gets people thinking the most is, you would say to them like, okay, well, what would you do if you were financially free? A question you could say back to that is, well, why aren't you doing that now? If they say, I want to spread, I don't know, English education around New York City, then you would say, okay, well, why aren't you doing that now? And they would say, well, we're strapped for money. And so you're going to resolve those concerns for them as you have this conversation and you open up that dialogue. It's a real amazing opportunity for us to find out more and to share a message and then to resolve that with what doTERRA's business opportunity has to offer. Okay, last but not least, for me anyway, and then we'll get to Paul. I love these 4 decisions. And if you've been around a while, you've heard them before. But I'm going to talk about them again because I think it's really important to touch on. So these 4 decisions are going to come up for you, and they're going to come up for you especially when you're looking for people to do the business with you. And I have my notes here because I don't want to miss anything. So the first decision is that people have to decide that they want to even do the business, right? You've laid it all out for them. You've designed a plan for them. You've looked at like what their reach is like, and they're excited and they want to host a class or they want to do the business. Okay. So they have to decide. They don't just commit to doing a class, but they commit to doing the business, right? So they, at that point, like I said before, they've had this awesome class. They had this great month. Maybe they had a great 2 months, and now they feel exhausted from their warm market. This is usually happening around the elite rank, executive to elite rank. And by that time, they kind of slow down. Maybe they stop answering your Voxers or your text messages, and they kind of feel like they need a break. Or maybe they'll even say to you, you know what, I just don't have anyone else to share this with. I don't know what else to do, and I don't have any builders, so I think I'm done. This is when they have to make the decision to keep going, okay? So you know now what you have gotten into. Will you still keep going? Those people who can get through this threshold tend to then hit silver. Silver is the rank in doTERRA that they consider a leadership rank. So this leadership pool in the compensation plan starts at the rank of silver, okay? And silver is an interesting one because this is when you are in it, you're in it to win it, but you start to question. Those feelings come up for you, like mom guilt, or your job guilt, or your shop guilt, or what do I need to let go of to be able to move forward in my business? Letting go of people's opinions of you, letting go of excuses, letting go of what you feel like your upline is or isn't doing for you, letting go of resentment. Okay, what do I need to do to let go of something to be able to move forward? That's really important to consider too, just because if you think about being at the rank of silver, right, that's easily going to either be like skyrocketed to the top to hit diamond, or very easily could give up and never do it again, right? Silver is like that spot in doTERRA where if you stop doing it, you're like, oh, well, I was just a silver, right? But you get to that silver threshold and you decide to let go and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a silver. That's amazing. I'm basically diamond, right? Because diamond's 4 silvers. So you're almost there anyway. So like, it's just that precipice that, you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, the last decision is when you usually are around like a gold or a platinum rank, and people have to like be all in, not just let go of people's opinions or like all the haters, network marketing haters and things like that, but like really going big. This is the decision to swing big every time. No punting, right? Like in baseball, you really got to swing it big every single time. And that's where I feel like I'm at right now. And so let me kind of give you an idea of what I mean by that. So the first year and a half or so of me actively doing this business, I gave my business about 20 hours a week. Maybe Paul would say a little more. And then when I decided to go big is when I did Diamond Club last fall. So I was leaving my family every weekend, not recommending that everybody do Diamond Club. I'm just giving you an example. There are many diamonds in doTERRA that never did Diamond Club. I'm just saying this was one of the decisions that I made, that I needed to go big, right? But then here was the biggest piece for me in deciding to go big, was finally feeling brave enough to talk about the business with every single person that I enroll. Okay, so not being shy about it, talking to people about the business opportunity with folks that I could tell needed this financial healing, and not feeling shy, not shying away from the idea of hosting a class or what it could look like for them financially if they were to do it. So that's what it means to decide to go big. Okay. I don't know if that was enough information. Maybe I talked too much. I have no idea. But I went to a healing retreat today from basically all day out in Sperryville. And one of the things that I took away from it was just how important it is to believe in ourselves, whether it's in being a mother, being a father, being a business owner, whether it's my belief in being able to, you know, lead this network marketing business. I just think it's so important that we have to fill our cup regardless of what anyone thinks. Regardless of what anyone thinks, we have to fill our cup. We have to take the time to take care of us. And my heart is so full, literally feels so full of love and appreciation for the people that are willing to do this business with me. And not just willing, but excited to do it. That like they're on Voxer even before I am, or in the morning, I mean, right? Or they're asking me questions before I even think of them. These are the kinds of people you want to be in business with. People who are so excited and think of questions before you can even like imagine those questions. So they are out there. There are so many of them just waiting and pondering for this opportunity and wondering when it's going to fall in their lap. So don't be afraid to talk about it. And you're awesome. That's all. Go, Paul. Sorry if I seem tired. I had a 4-hour drive today. 2 hours there and 2 hours back.
Well, if you stop sharing your screen, I will start sharing mine.
Sure.
There we go.
Oh, he's so cute.
Okay, so can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I had a few parting thoughts. And can you mute your mic real quick? Sorry, babe.
I thought I did, no?
No. Okay, that's much better. I was hearing the infinite echo. So I had a few parting thoughts. It's been a fun 6 weeks. It's been a fast 6 weeks. I can't believe it's been 6 weeks already since we started this. And mostly, I think, I got to say, I'm really excited for the folks who have been active and engaged in this process. There's a lot of growth that I know that's happened. It's been exciting for me to become more involved and to prepare for this and be engaged with you all, and especially with Lena. And so I'd encourage you to try to get all your significant others involved as early as possible, because it's really brought Lena and I closer together in our relationship, and I think it's helped our business too. So the first thing I want to cover is remember to do the work. We all have 24 hours in a day. We have time we have to give to our families, our jobs. We have to sleep. We have to, sharpen our own saws and that sort of thing. But we have to do the work. You're not going to get anywhere without doing it. And as I say that, remember the law of the harvest. The farmer does a lot of work before he ever sells any of his produce. He's got to get out there and till the field and plant the seeds and water and cultivate and so on. But if you do that, then you won't be able to prevent the harvest. If you follow the principles. There's been plenty of times where we're nearing the end of the month and we're a little bit short, and Lena will say, oh, guess what? 5 people out of the blue called me and they want to get started or something like that. And we'll end up hitting the goal. And that's because, we lay the groundwork. A lot of times me doing the work might be, making it so Lena can get out there and teach classes. But getting out there and teaching the classes, they might not enroll today, but they might enroll in 2 months. That's happened to us a lot of times. But even more important is that you're out there doing it, and that's going to help you get better at doing it. If you don't feel like you're an expert yet, mess up 3 or 4 or 10 times. Learn from your mistakes. Better yet, have your mentor take your first few classes, and you might do your classes exactly the opposite as they do theirs. The important thing is that you don't have to reinvent this wheel, but you have to get out there and do the work. The next thing is stay focused. Set a goal, and if you want to do like Lena did in the beginning and go for 20 hours a week, do that. If you decided that you want to do this as your full-time gig and you want to get out there and do it 60 hours a week, then do that. But stay on that goal. The very first week I joined and we talked about planning. Have a plan and stick to the plan. Have goals. If you say you want to talk to 15 people this week, then talk to 15 people this week. If you say you want to enroll 3 people this week, make sure you put the work in to do 3 people. Or, if you want to do, 3 solid 4-hour time blocks this week of work, make sure that you're using that time purposefully. Get out there and do it. Stay focused. I guarantee you'll have plenty of excuses not to do the work. There's great reasons. People who are proactive will find ways to get it done. People who are reactive will find the reasons why they shouldn't do it. So I'd encourage you to be focused and be proactive in that. Next, I kind of touched on it before, but practice. there's a lot of no's before you get to your yeses. If this was easy and dollars were growing on trees, you could just go out and pick them, but that's not what it is. You got to do the work, and people are going to say they don't want to do the business, or maybe they're going to start doing the business and be great for a month, and then you'll never hear from them again. There's different obstacles. There's different failures that'll happen along the way, and you should look at each one of those as a great learning opportunity. But the most important thing is that to succeed, you need everything to go right. To fail, you only need one thing to go wrong, and you're only going to get through that by practicing. Go ahead and take the failures. Be excited for the failures. If you teach 4 classes in a row with not a single enrollment, that's great. Now you know that you shouldn't teach a class like that ever again and change everything that you're doing. But you got to get out there and you got to do it. You got to have these discussions. Your first one is probably going to be horrible. Your second one's going to be a little bit better, but your 10th one will be great. And your 20th one, you'll sound like an expert. So just get out there and do the work. Remember that this is a relationship business. So get out there and build relationships. Build relationships about doTERRA, or build relationships about anything. We've got a lot of friends who are regular customers who call us when they need something. We're not knocking on their doors saying, hey, buy something from us every day. But they know that we are a resource for them. Lena, after she got home from a retreat, had to run over to her friend's house for something just tonight because they needed some help. So build relationships. Don't build sales. Don't build what's the word I'm thinking of? Don't build resources. Don't think of people as resources. People are not resources. They're people. They have real problems. They have real needs, and we can help solve those, and we can help meet those needs. Melina kind of touched on this earlier, but ask questions. There's really kind of 3 types of questions. There's the introducing questions, the how are you doing? There's the prospective questions, talking about the future, like Lena was saying. And then there's the questions that kind of hurt. They're a little uncomfortable to ask, and that's the current reality questions. Was Lena was touching on it, why aren't you there yet? Why aren't you doing that? You want to, when you're asking somebody these current reality questions, you're getting people to look inside themselves and tell you what's wrong with them. People become satisfied with the status quo, and we become afraid of changing the status quo, and we come up with excuses of why the status quo is okay. Otherwise, we'd have a country full of billionaires. And so you look at where you are now and where you want to be. Well, you're never going to work at where you want to be if identifying the now doesn't sting a little bit. And so you got to, ask the questions that are going to create that sting, which is hard and uncomfortable. Also, we're going to ask questions to learn about people. Ask questions that are open-ended. Don't lead people or manipulate people through questions. Listen to them. Listen to the answers. We talked a little bit about this 2 weeks ago, where you're not looking for the outcome specifically through a question. You shouldn't be manipulating people through questions, which is easy to do. Salespeople do it all the time, but we want to actually learn and listen. And people when they feel really, if they really feel heard, they're going to feel an obligation to give you something in return, and that's going to be listening to your presentation. Next is, let go of the outcome to increase your income. Like I said earlier, don't treat people like a sale. Once you project that energy of I'm just looking at you and I've got dollar signs in my eyes, and you're going to treat people like a big juicy steak when you do that, and they're going to feel that. Let go of the outcome. Just enjoy the relationship. One of the best things about being in business for yourself, and if you're like Lena and I as a couple, is it's exciting. It's fun. You get to learn new things all the time. It's so funny. Like um, before I was really engaged in working with Lena, I often listen to books or read books on my commute. And a lot of times I get into like, fiction or literature or that sort of thing. But as I started getting more involved in the business, I started listening to more business books or reading more business books. And then kind of one thing led to another. And now I'm reading, more nonfiction and biographies and that sort of stuff. And it's just the process of getting involved has really helped me to grow as a person. And I think that's just as important as any of the money that we've made is the ability to expand our reach. And when you're dealing with somebody and you can pass that on, you create the opportunity for them to expand. I think they'll really enjoy that. And you can be a life-changing person in their life, and that always feels really good. And that leads me to the next, which is help people solve problems. We talked a little bit about asking questions to identify the current reality versus where they want to be in the future or where they feel like they should be in the future. And, doTERRA is great at doing this. I've had several problems solved by the product. We're also solving problems with the business for ourselves. But on top of that, we've also helped several friends. Just the other day, for example, at work, somebody had a stuffy head, and I just happened to have some Breathe oil in my drawer. And I said, here, put a drop of this on your hands and inhale for a few minutes. And she did. She's like, oh, it's amazing. That works so well. I'm like, yeah, anytime you need it. It's that little thing there. Someone's struggling with meaning in their life. doTERRA is an organization that focuses a lot on doing good things. And on top of that, when you're improving one part of your life, all the other parts of your life improve also. The saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. And that's true with the person as well. So, if you're helping someone be healthier, if you're helping someone sleep better, if you're helping someone have that, identify their values in their life and work in building a business for themselves, that's going to affect them and their family in immeasurable ways. I know it has ours, and I know it has friends of ours who have done this. And then, we talked a little bit about this a second ago, but get comfortable being uncomfortable. Lena is amazing at this, and she drives me absolutely crazy sometimes because she's so good at this. But, when she first started doing this, she printed out some business cards, and there wasn't a stranger who didn't know her name and that she was trying to help them, And she would walk up to people or talk to anybody. There were folks at the mall or while we were traveling or that sort of thing. I just thought, wow, this girl's amazing. Here I was, this guy who had been a Marine, I'd been in 2 wars, gone to law school, and I was still a little bit shy about talking to people about the business. But Lena just one day decided that she's never going to be shy about it. And whether it's the products or the business itself, she's going to figure out what somebody needs and she's going to do it. There's, if you think of a seed, the seed, you've got the seed below the surface of the earth. So it's got to push through all that soil. It's got to push hard. It's got to come up before it becomes a nice plant and a flower that blossoms or whatever. We're those seeds, right? And we've got to push up against the earth that's above us, and we got to rise up against that pressure of the earth that's keeping us down. All the obstacles or objections or, whatever it is that our reasons for not succeeding in the past have been. Just decide today, if you haven't already, to be okay with that pressure. I'm going to push up against it. It's going to hurt, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the work in. Maybe I get an hour less of sleep every day, but I can use that hour to change my life. Or I'm going to talk to 5 strangers every week, and maybe none of them enroll this week, but maybe 1 in 10. So you get 2 extra a month from that, whatever the number is going to be. But whenever you do something uncomfortable, you're going to become comfortable with it, and then you go to the next level, and you go to the next level. And so, maybe your comfort zone is as big as a fist right now, but if you keep every week you expand that comfort zone, then you're a watermelon, and then you're a beach ball, and all of a sudden your comfort zone is the whole world. That's just a little bit every day. Be okay with being uncomfortable. If that means asking for a sale, if that means telling someone they're not the right fit for your organization, if that means, telling your husband, no, you have to take the kids tonight because I got to do some work. And if he grumbles because he was supposed to go to the movies, this isn't a scenario that's happened in our house, by the way. But you have to figure out where your comfort zone is, because that comfort zone has created the world around you. And if you're okay with the world around you and you don't want to change anything, 1, you're probably not listening to this call. But 2, you're never going to change unless you step outside of that comfort zone. It's okay if you put a toe out first. I'm the sort of guy, I jump right out of it, and probably not always a good thing. I happen to marry someone who does the exact same thing, but we've always kind of chosen the hardest path of life. And I think that served us pretty well. Now, I want to talk a little bit about being the hedgehog again. I posted something else last week on this about being the hedgehog. And, it's kind of a silly principle, but it just works so well. When you have this clear vision of what you're trying to create and of who you are, your values are going to guide you, and all the big, hairy, mean-looking obstacles, the me monsters that come up, if you're returning back to that vision and your values, and if you can look at it, you'll put it on your bathroom mirror, so it's the first thing you see in the morning and the last thing you see at night, your personal vision statement or mission statement. You have that there, that's going to guide you through all sorts of problems, whether it's financial. You just can't seem to come up with the time, or you're trying to travel, to teach a class, but you just don't have enough room on the credit card or something like that. Well, those things happen, but if you have a clear vision, you're not going to bump up against those things, because all your other choices and decisions are going to fit that same path. And that's how we all have that. I mentioned that a minute ago. We all have that 24 hours in the day. Well, if you have that hedgehog sort of mentality, if you have that clear vision and single purpose, you're going to use those 24 hours better than other folks. That's the only difference between you and any other self-made cajillionaire, is that they use their time differently than you do. And that's the change. You can use it to watch 3 hours of reruns, or you can use it to make a couple of phone calls and do a wellness consult. And sometimes you have to watch those 3 hours of reruns. I get it. But if you're doing that every single day, then you've got to think about making some changes. Now, my last thing I want to talk about is having fun. We have made some amazing friends. Lena's taken a lot of trips. I've only taken one trip so far. But I guess that's not really true, because we were in California 2 years ago too, where we met some folks. And I just think this is just a great, goes in with building relationships. One of my favorite things in the world is just having dinner and talking with people. I love just sitting at the table for like 3 hours and just having great conversation. And doTERRA has allowed us to do that in new and exciting ways with new and exciting people. And for those of you that I've met, I truly value the relationship that we've been building. For those of you I haven't met yet, I look forward to meeting you at convention and hopefully at leadership. And as our organization grows, we'll be able to do more things. And as our organization grows, we're going to see the different builders on our team develop and see what they do. And I was talking to Lena a couple days ago. We anticipate that people in our organization will grow faster than us at certain times. I'm just so excited for somebody to pass us up in rank. I think that'll be the best day of our lives, because that means that somebody that we've worked with is having fantastic and amazing success. And every time, I see on the Voxer group about some enrollments or a new relationship getting built, I'm just so excited that, that you're out there changing your own life by changing other people's lives. And so, this has been a great opportunity to talk with some of you and to work with some of you. And, like Lena said, this is not the end of our relationship. This is really just the beginning as we grow this organization and we grow together. And that's all I have, Lena. I'll turn it back over to you. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Paul. And thank you guys so much for, like I said, just being here in this group and going through this workshop with us. I want to invite everybody to join in. We are going to be having a team call. I'm trying to think, Paul, what did you say about the 30th? You were asking me. I'm pretty sure that's the night of our next team call. And we're going to be mapping out August and all the things. So I'll stop recording here, but I'll make sure to post the next team call on the Builder Facebook page. And so, yeah, you'll find the link there. Thanks, guys. You're awesome. I'm going to click stop record cast.